Hey everyone, Maury Curtis Dunbar here. Welcome back to Painted Studio. I even forgot to put a title on this live. I am working on our paper covered table today. So last night, after I did all that foiling very late, I stayed even later. I was here until about 11:30 last night, cutting up millions of little pieces of paper so that we can do the pattern that I was discussing while I was doing the cutting last night. Now, I don't know how many people have seen me do this decoupage treatment before, so we're going to cover right now that the liquid that I use to apply the, hey Terry, nice to see you here. The liquid I use to apply the paper to the tabletop is Set Coat Clear, which is what I write on here because I always have little jars that I put my materials into so that I can put my brush into them and not contaminate an entire gallon or even a full quart. It keeps it from drying out so much, and then I have easier to manage containers. But yeah, I've got gallons of Set Coat Clear sitting over here that I usually just pour into a small container when I need it for a job. And I gotta whack it open because I'm never smart enough to actually wipe the edge of the container off before I close the jar. So I've been doing this for forever. I'm gonna end up popping the jar before I pop the lid here. I could have done this before I started the live, couldn't I? Hang on, I need to get a paint cube. Give me just a sec. I'm also at a angle where I can't quite whack it onto anything hard because I'm in a weird position. Like everything's a little higher than normal. So I need it a little more challenging. All right, I just got to pop this lid open. And all I do is take a paint key and slightly go around like this. And I'm sharing this because everybody says, I know how to get the lids off the paint cans, but how do I do it when it's stuck on a jar? Well, this is what you do. You go around and you just sort of lightly pry it away until it all lets go. And this one's not going to want to let go, so if it doesn't, I'll have to pull out another container. Oh, I probably just broke the lid. There we go. All right, open. Set Coat Clear, which does not look clear. Most acrylic products, my skull is showing. Martin's teasing me about my Halloween headband. Yes, I've even got, and I have more of these coming. By the way, these are from Fifi Mahoney's down in New Orleans, and you can call them and they will send them to you. They do not have normal online shopping, but because I called them and I sent them a picture of mine, they sent more. Hey, Desiree. Desiree, your package is on its way to you. All right, so let me put this down to the table so you can see what I'm doing, which of course does mean that I will have a bit of a hard time. Let me just adjust the camera. It means I'm going to have a hard time seeing your questions. So now I got to saddle up to the table here. Terribly ladylike, especially in a skirt. And I'm going to take some of these. Now, my idea was I could either start going in concentric ring pattern like this and sort of do a starburst that kind of goes like that. And I have all kinds of different colors. And then we just sort of layer them in like that. And it becomes sort of a floral starburst, but then I lose this whole background, which I didn't want to do. So I think we're going to try a more serpentine pattern. And let me get this here. So the way this works is that you have to start laying a pattern down, but you have to think about how you want the final look to be because everything is going to kind of overlap. So that was me doing some mental plotting. So this is a spot up here that I kind of want to make sure I get something on because I have a little bit of the white showing. And if that ends up showing by the time I finish laying the paper, I will come back and create another, maybe a gold border along here so that that cleans all that up and nobody has to see it. All right, so I'm going to take my brush and the Set Coat Clear, and I'm just sort of painting a little shape here. And I know that doesn't look like much of anything, and that's fine, it's not supposed to. I'm going to take a bunch of these papers and throw them in front of me. I have about 6 different papers that I cut up into triangles last night to create a scale pattern. Plus I had some left from another project that I did. I'm just putting a bunch in front of me. I have cut way more than I could possibly use for this, I think. I say that and then watch, I'll go through all of this. I'll get obsessive about it. Okay, so I've got this one I'm going to stick here. Get a little bit of that. And once I finish doing all this and laying it down and then making sure everything is completely bonded to the surface, I top coat it, and this all looks like tile. It's a really cool effect. So I tried to pick colors that I thought would be compatible with this and with the black. That doesn't mean that they have to all be bright, bright, bright pink and candy-like, but it doesn't hurt. And the papers, all these papers are from Paper Source. And, okay, so I've gotten that done. And I pick the ones that are kind of a pulpy paper. And the reason for that is that it absorbs the Set Coat Clear or Mod Podge, if that's what you use. These pulpy papers accept the adhesive, the liquid, better than things like posters and some of the glossy wrapping papers and that sort of thing. You need to make sure that everything is well and truly tacked down. You don't want any of these little tips just sort of popping up and saying hello. It's not helpful. So I'm going to keep the majority of the scales that I'm creating, the pink and the purple and copper and the silver and basically silver and craft paper color. Okay. And if I have a tip that just doesn't want to lay down, I go underneath it, put a little more Set Coat Clear, and then press it back down. And this is just going to be a sort of serpentine pattern around here that is picked up by all these pretty colors. And I'm not even planning that hard what the pattern's going to be, because I just want to see what I can make happen. So clearly I'm already planning sort of a loop-de-loop here. Even though I wasn't really, I must have been subconsciously thinking about it. And I got a lot of fun colors. I don't know why I keep grabbing the cups when I dumped a whole bunch of it in front of me, but I think it's a habit that I just keep going into the cups. what's cool about this paper is that it's sort of goldish on one side and bronzy on the other, so I can flip them and get two color stories out of one piece of paper. This does not, it's being stubborn and my nails are a little, it's so fine my nails don't want to grab it. I don't know if you're picking up the background sound. You know, we're fully fall here. It's definitely chilly. We're going down to 47 tonight. So we're supposed to hit, I guess, 70 again next week. You know, last gasps of summer, but we have tons of kids outside. The street in front of the studio gets blocked off every weekend, so that the restaurants can have the dining outside, and it's really very nice. And I gotta tell you, we just hear kids all day long on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and it's so fun to hear them. I have a couple little kids who are obviously visiting grandparents or something, and they had their little Halloween costumes on, and they came out and posed in front of our window here, so that that's their family Halloween picture in front of my window. I was so excited. Like, that was the coolest thing. That made my day. I don't want that doing that way. I'm making sure that my movement with the swoop here is natural. So I'm going to take my hand and go around this loop and follow the pattern that my wrist would naturally make, because if I try to force it, it does not look as good. Now, this does take time, and this will keep going on for the next, few hours while I plot this out and then figure out where I'm going to go with it. But I have done I did this technique on a sculptured piece that I was doing with a friend who I was partnering with. We used to do collaborative pieces for art galleries, and we did. This whole thing was on a human statue and life size, and I did this technique basically from the hips down past the feet to give it a sort of sea creature effect. So this is probably the loosest way I've ever applied this. Normally I'm very tight and it's really scaly looking. I'm not normally one who is going to take this and kind of go in an organic direction with this. I need to see if I can push those over just a little bit. All right. And this is the kind of, I used to do this like all the time. Seriously, no exaggeration. This was what I was doing. I had a couple years, this was what I was doing almost every day, because that's what I was getting calls for. I was doing them in murals, small murals on doors, in bifold doors, and bigger pieces and sculptures and all kinds of stuff. And this was a technique I was using constantly. So there's probably at some place somewhere in the world a whole lot of my fish scale technique. As far as I know, the murals that I've done are still there, because I get calls to do touch-ups every once in a while, and Most of them are kind enough to let me know if there's going to be something happening when one of them comes down, so I can make sure I can get current photographs of it, which I enjoy because then it teaches me how some of my work is aged and what I might need to do to improve it. As you can see, the only thing I'm doing to create a specific pattern in the repetition of what I'm doing is making sure that everything is not too uniform. As a matter, like, there's a reason I just put 3 of these here like this, because I haven't done it anywhere else. You know, I've done 1 here, 2 of these here, 2 of these here, and ones and twos. So if I'm going to stack it up to keep it really random and organic, I need to make sure that I don't repeat everything in a way that looks too organized. And if I was doing this on a bigger scale too, other than these little things, I'd probably have gloves on because oftentimes I'm in here smoothing stuff with my hands. Something I don't need to do with this one because it's small and the paper's adhering easily and I'm not fighting it, because I've done some of these and that's how I know which papers handle this well and which ones absorb everything the best, because I've done this with all kinds of paper and some of them you really have to fight. And the extra set coat that you're going to see me brushing around here, that's no big deal because it's already got set coat on it. I'm just smoothing it out so we don't have any heavy brush marks left over and it looks bad. All right, let's get these down. That one piece does not want to stay tacked down. So you're seeing what's happening. It has sort of a Japanese feel to it, even though this table is a traditional European, almost English feel to it. I like mixing things up a little bit with it. And I have a feeling once I get finished with the top, I'm going to realize that the legs and the sides of this might need a little gold on it. That's how they develop. And if I'm not answering your questions, I'm sorry. I'm looking down, the camera's over my shoulder, so it's not easy for me to see any of the questions. And all of the papers I'm using here today are from Paper Source. Let's put a silver one in. The only thing in this particular video that I carry is the set coat. All the paper is from Paper Source. I think that's the way I want to go. I like that kind of loopiness, and then we'll have to feed it back. All right, that's giving me my next few inches. I'm truly not planning this out. I'm in no way lying about that. I think you'll have figured this out, that I'm doing it very randomly as you watch me. Car was being repaired. That I had, if fortunately I could do that really fast. My car is with my mother's car, and my mother, she was a car fanatic, loved cars. was not well enough later in her life to take care of this one the way she took care of all her other cars. A little blob is something I picked up from the table. So in the years since her death, we have surprising things that go wrong with the car, including the fact that the idiot lights like to go off like for no reason. I get sensor lights going off on this car and they mean literally nothing. So some days I goes over to the shop saying, okay, lights are on, let's see if there's anything wrong with it. No? Okay, good, see you later. So that's what today was. And these guys have been servicing my cars for 20 years, so they take care of me. They're coming over to pick me up so I can get my car back, and then I can drop them back off at the shop down the street. So I think we're going to come to the end of our video in a few minutes, because otherwise there's going to be a guy showing up with my car. And then he's going to be part of the video, and somehow I don't think he's all too anxious, my mechanic is all too anxious to be in a furniture painting video. Then again, I could be wrong. He might like it. All right, let's put a little pink here. So I don't know if all of you know this, but I lived as an exchange student in Japan as a young person, and it absolutely affected a lot of my aesthetic. So even when I'm not trying, sometimes I do stuff and it looks a little Japanese. And that's where we're going here. Because I did a huge canvas mural of a dragon. And this is starting to look a little like my dragon's tail that was all serpentine. So I'm really liking this though. I'm really happy with where it's going. All right, I think I'm going to let this go for today, and I will probably finish this and show you all where it's at tomorrow. There we go. All right, let me come back here. Oh my gosh, I forgot to turn the camera back down. Sorry, Gigi, you're right. Sandy, nice to see you. You're right. All you guys are telling me I need to, okay. I'm painting and I'm talking and you guys aren't seeing what I'm doing. So here we are at, let me zoom in. So you see I've laid these all down and they'll all cure hard and firmly attached tomorrow. I mean, this is the paper we did the other day. It's not coming up. I'm trying to get my finger in the camera so you can see me. This is hard on here. Now that the set coat has penetrated and bonded this, I have now got a completely paintable surface. It's wonderful. It's less porous. It will not spread stuff the way it would have if I tried to paint or apply anything directly onto the unsealed paper. And we're going to keep moving around here, and tomorrow I'll come back and we'll do some more fun stuff. So I think maybe now you can see that a little better. Sorry for doing that. You know, you get me distracted. Okay. I think, yes, it does, Gigi, it does have a Japanese aesthetic, and it's not even what I was trying for. It's what happens sometimes when you have a lot of influences in your life. Even when you try, you're not even thinking about it, they show up. So we're going to, let me come back and take a quick look and see if I've missed any questions. And then we're going to call it a night. Okay. Let's see. It's great to see all of you here. Thanks for Carol and for Jeanette and Kay and Minetta and all of you, Susie. Thank you. Rosemary, Barb. Gosh, I'm just going to keep going through and saying hi to everybody because I haven't seen you. So it's great. Minetta, hi. Yes, it is fun. Lisa, thank you. And my husband's even watching. Okay, Lisa, to explain what I was doing, if you missed it, what we're doing is the next layer of decoration on that table that I had done the Old World finishing paint on and then laid the pink marble paper over. So this is something I love doing. Kay, thank you for it. Thank you for the kind words. I appreciate it. Sandy, nice to see you. Okay. I think I've gotten the camera down. I appreciate it, all the kind words. I wish sometimes that I could hear you yelling, move the camera, because that would be so much easier for me instead of me suddenly looking up and wondering how long the camera hasn't been pointing at what I was working on. All right, everybody, have a great Friday night. Enjoy this beautiful evening with your families and spend some time doing something pretty and creative. Share the love, sprinkle the videos, and there is a new clue about to be posted on our contest. Now, next Friday, I am closing out the contest. I will, if nobody's gotten it by then, the person who with the first answer that is the closest answer will receive the prize. This is, if you guys, it's not going to be the never-ending contest. It's not going to be nobody gets it prize because it took too long to guess the answer. We're just going to give it to the closest answer by Friday if you all haven't gotten it. Remember, one guess a day, and every day there's a new clue posted. So keep an eye on, go back to that post. It's the post of what is this thing, and you make your guess for today. Keep entering. Every time I keep looking, we're going to keep trying to get an answer so I can give the prize. All right, everybody, have a good night. Bye-bye.